All right, people. So today I want to speak about why Ghana rewards relationships over process. Let's get into it. So, part of the reason why Ghana rewards relationships over process is that that's what preceded the process, is the relationships. I'll give you an example. So, um, there's two times in which I had to encounter the passport office, and my experience in that passport office is largely reflected by the passport picture at the end of my time in the passport office. The first time might have been 2021, or might have been earlier than that, maybe 2019. And no, it was earlier than that. It's before my son was born. So it's probably 2019, 2018. And this is when the passport office, I can't remember exactly where it was, but it was still outdoor. So it wasn't the main one that is currently in play now. And the passport office, if you don't know, it's something to be aware of. You know, they frown upon wearing shorts in this passport office. You may not be seen. Is kind of, I mean, there's a formality to it because it's a government office, so it's a cultural thing. So, like, if you're going there, wear trousers to avoid the wahala. But the process was very long-winded, a lot of seating, etc. You could be waiting there all day in order to make progress, and you may not be even seen that day. Now, if you have relationships, on the other hand, which fortunately we did through our elders, you can be prioritized and pulled forward, etc. It's very informal systems, and informal systems reward informal behavior and relationships. So, in order to accelerate any task in Ghana, um, you using informal channels, not informal channels, but the formal channels with the connection or relationship is always going to accelerate your objective. Another time I used the passport office was actually for my wife and children when we were getting their Ghanaian passports. Now, what we did there, which was our mistake, was we followed the process. So by following the process, there was an online system now. So, the processes are improving or trying to improve. We entered the passport office. We followed the various rules in terms of prior booking and all those kind of things, and brought the necessary documentation. My wife, for example, had a expired Ghanaian passport, which we simply wanted to renew. It's expired from when she was very young. And we waited. We had our young son with us at the time. That was his first Ghanaian passport, so he was a baby. We were probably about 7 months. And we waited. We paid for VIP, which doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get VIP, or your interpretation of VIP may be different. We paid for VIP. We waited. We waited. We were seen by somebody who kind of does the passport administration process, and there was a difference in the current passport and the previous passport. Basically, the Ghanaian name um, had been dropped from the original passport to her current passport. That ended up being a whole wahala. They followed protocol, right? And in trying to understand what the protocol was, the people behind the desk, one referred up to a manager, and then the manager got offended. And it was because basically we were being told that we had to register a name change in the Gazette, go to the police station to administer the name change, and blah blah blah, etc., etc. And the question was like, okay, so why does that happen? And somebody got offended to the point where which I think this isn't right, but culturally it can happen. Um, the person in question refused to speak to my wife and would only speak to me. Um, and there is that cultural thing that is still a problem in a way here. Um, Now I say all of this to, and actually let me continue and kind of tell you where this ended up. So we ended up having to go to the police station, then go to another office to register a name change in order to get this processed. And with our son, we waited in the same waiting area as everyone else, even though we paid for this VIP treatment. And the only VIP element was it was right at the end of the process when we took pictures um, for the passport itself, we were putting into an AC room. We were put into an AC room as opposed to the general room that everyone else was in. But we waited the same amount of time. In fact, we waited longer because we had all the extra steps we had to do with the gazette and all these kind of things. Now, I get the protocol, and the protocol it could be, or the process, and the process could be made more efficient, but it's not, right? It's not efficient yet. So that's where relationships supersede process and garner rewards relationships. Another thing that we tried to do where we had to follow the process was our Ghana card. Now, this was at the height of when the Ghana card was really being implemented. So people's mobiles would be deactivated if they didn't have a Ghana card. So there was massive demand to go and complete the Ghana card process. And I think the Ghana card is a really good thing. As long as, and this, I think this will come with time, as long as it has interoperability or interfaces with other systems and databases that enable us to better discipline the system, right? You know, issue things like parking tickets or speeding tickets or track people and all those kind of things. Um, I'm not an advocate for it generally as a concept, but here we need it, and we need that discipline in the system. Anyway, the the Ghana card process was also going to be lengthy, but this was different. We had an insider who accelerated us. We got it done. It was still quite a long process, but some people had been there queuing from really early and didn't get out before we got out. So Ghana rewards relationships over process. To go back to the passport example, so after we'd gone through all of that and we basically got our passports in the process, you know, we came back home, we spoke to my parents, and they kind of laughed. That was just another example where someone was at their giveaway lines, but they're actually hurtling towards me. It's crazy. Anyway, yes, we get home now and tell the experience, and kind of my parents just laugh and just like, you're wasting your time, or you know the director. Um, so there's no point in getting frustrated because actually that's just the way the system is now because the process hasn't caught up to the relationship based nature of the system. It will, it will. I firmly believe that because so many aspects of the system are now having formal process established, but it's still not there yet. And or if when it is there, but it's not as efficient as you'd like it to be. What is efficient is having someone on the inside who can progress your application, your outputs that you're intending to get. So with the passport story, my parents kind of laughed at us saying we knew the director, shouldn't have done it that way. Um, Next time, don't do things that way. And they were right because as our passports were being processed, they were going to take a long time. And then once a couple of phone calls had been made, we got to pick it up like 2 days later. Otherwise, in the formal process, it would have taken, I think it was like a month. I can't remember. It was a long time ago, but you know, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. So I say all of that to say that it is difficult when you don't have relationships, right? That's, I think, my key governing message. It's difficult when you don't have relationships. To build those relationships takes time. You know, us at Kuro, what we do now is some bespoke research for people to help build relationships before you even come. So, for example, we recently completed a research project for a client who wanted to understand how to get greater occupancy in a particular location. We went out in the field, we saw the employment sectors in the area, and then we were able to get some contacts for them to then explore doing corporate deals with certain employers and those kind of things, because there was demand there. But it's difficult to do that when you're away, right? We do desk research as well, but um, our desk research is always supplemented by field research, where we can build the contacts, the relationships, and validate any assumptions we have gained from the desk research. Our bridge from desk research to um, field research based on our data that we hold, our models that we've created, and all those kind of things. So relationships are critical. You have to have them in order to circumvent and navigate the system in an efficient way. So inefficiency, in a way, is efficient, but it's relationship based efficiency that you're going to get, and that's going to help you. All right. That's not to say that the formal efficiency won't emerge eventually. It will. That takes time. Ghana's making progress, but you really need relationships. In Accra, it's definitely about who you know rather than following the process, or who you know rather than what you know. So take it from me, if you want less stress, don't follow the formal process. Understand what relationships you need to have within the formal process. Follow it, but have somebody ready and able to support the progress of the process. All right, that's all I got for now, guys. What do you think? How important are relationships in Africa, in Ghana, from your experience? Let us know in the comments below. Okay, until next time.